I want to say something about the nurturing that I had, just a little bit more about that, because as a family who would be classified as not wealthy, not middle class, not wealthy, we raised chickens, hogs, turkeys, and a huge garden. So that here's when I refer to myself as a gardener now. I think about the process of creating value, creating something that nurtures life, right? If you're going to grow vegetables, for example, we had a huge vegetable garden. We raised enough stuff that my mother would can vegetables and fruits in season. We'd have more vegetables and fruits in our pantry that lasts us the whole year. We didn't go to the store for anything but incidentals, salt, sugar, stuff like that. We raised our meats. We had a meat house there in the back there. In the fall, we would make our cider, big drums of cider, big kegs of cider. That was kind of a self-enclosed. When I was in elementary school, my dad said, "You old enough to do this." So he took me in the hen house. He said, "Before you go to school in the morning, I want you to put the chicken food in here for the chicken, the water and stuff during the day. And when you come home at the end of the day, gather up the eggs and put more water in there for the chickens," right? I think about that as getting me kind of in the flow of how do you sustain yourself in a non-market, situation. But I also want to mention about when I'm growing up now, sitting at the dinner table, my grandmother, Grandma Callie, right? You would always have that Bible verse before the dinner, right? Her Bible verse always was, "I once was young, and now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread." She was talking about the economy of abundance. That's what I was nurtured in, economy of abundance, where people were able to support themselves and then provide for some neighbors too who didn't have quite what you had. Because I would bring in 3 dozen eggs a day. So we would have eggs, put some on the market. I think we probably ate more eggs. So you had your own cows, and so it was kind of like an economy of abundance on a small scale, a macro scale, That's in my blood, that the good Lord has provided everything that's needed to save every child on the planet, every child, every family on the planet. I believe that's a warrant, and I take it so. As a result of my work with Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, we'll say more about that. But I did want to double back into that childhood thing because I believe that the confidence that my folks had in having me to do these things played into my development in a way that was strategic. I didn't know, but that's part of the blessing. I've just been blessed so abundantly in the things that I was made to do, even when I didn't do them well. My older brother, Junior, would always cover for me. I feel bad about that now, but I thank God for him. He'd say, "Okay, I'll fix it, I'll finish it." He would do it,
That is fascinating. When you talk about the canning, it reminds me of something my mother would say from her childhood. She said that they had a saying, "You eat all you can, and what you can't."
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
It was a similar kind of thing. It sounds like your family owned their land, the land.
Oh yeah, 40 acres. We had 40 acres.
And that made a huge difference. My mother and my father's, both of their sets of parents owned the land, and they could do that. They could raise, even though they were almost always cashless.
Sure. Yes,
they were very poor in one sense.
That's right.
They had to make almost everything.
That's right.
Their shirts still had the label from the flour sack.
Yeah, I know about that.
They would bleach the flour sack and the words were still there. and they would dye the shirts. But she would talk about the fact that they raised their own meat, and they grew their own vegetables. And
Yes.
you can it, so when it was not growing season, you could still have some food to eat because it was not
Exactly.
money to buy food.
Right.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Eat all you can and can all you can. I like that. Who said that?
My mother told me that. She said they
Let's go
said
to
that as they
travel.
were children. She's amazing.
That story's going to travel, Doc. It has legs, I tell you.